reign as box office champs for another week as the movie earned another $102 million in its second weekend. Given its current pace, the film will cross $1 billion globally faster than any other movie before. Despite coming in second place, Disney's Inside Out actually overperformed this weekend, coming in at $91 million, which made it the second largest Pixar opening of all time, next to Toy Story 3, which made $110.3 million in 2010. The Melissa McCarthy comedy Spy took third place with $10.5 million in its third week, while Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's San Andreas landed in fourth place with $8.2 million. Rounding out the top five was the Sundance hit Dope, which grabbed $6 million in its opening weekend. John, what stands out to you about this weekend's box office?
Well, I mean, a couple things. Let's start with Jurassic Park. I was both right and wrong about it. See, because Jurassic Park was not, in my opinion, not as good as like Avengers, the original Avengers. I thought, okay, it ended up with the biggest by a hair. It ended up with the biggest opening weekend of all time. But it's not going to have the repeat viewing of, say, the first Avengers. Therefore, I do not believe it's going to be as big as Avengers' second week, even though its first week was bigger. I don't think it'll have as big of a second week as Avengers, and I can't see it making $100 million. Well, I was barely right about it not being as big as Avengers second weekend. The Avengers second weekend was 103 point something. So I was right about that, but I was dead wrong about it being under 100 million. It was just by a bit over 100 million. So it's got legs, man. It's got legs. The other thing though, and this is the thing that I think a lot of people have been missing in this weekend's box office talk that I see online, is that Inside Out did way better than I thought it would. Because even though it is my favorite movie of the year so far, I did not think the marketing was great. But to be fair to Disney, if you've seen the movie, you know this is a hard movie to market. Like how do you put a trailer together for this? I thought they did. I was not impressed with their trailers until I saw the full movie. Then I'm like, yeah, they probably did as good of a job as you could have done with this movie. But here's the interesting thing. Inside Out is now the largest opening weekend in film history for an original film. No film that wasn't either based on a comic book or a sequel or reboot has ever opened as big as Inside Out. It is the #1 all-time opening weekend box office champion for an original film. And I think because of the huge impact that Jurassic World is having, I think a lot of us are overlooking that. But very impressive for Pixar. Like I said, to me, it is the best film of the year so far. So, I mean, and that movie that set the record for opening weekend box office for original film came in second place. That's a good weekend at the box office. So anyway, Dennis, you saw these numbers. What stands out to you about this weekend?
Well, obviously, Jurassic World continues to surprise. If you say you saw it coming, you're a liar.
Liar, liar.
Liar, liar, pants on fire. No one saw that, so it continues to impress. Yeah, the Inside Out is getting kind of overlooked because it came in #2. But yeah, it made it so much money. I thought it was going to make 65 to 70. That was my...
I think I topped out at 65. I really did. I think I topped my estimate in my head for it was 65.
And yeah, but it did very, very well. I was surprised that it appealed so much to kids as well, because when I saw it, I would say it was half adults, half kids in there. The adults were laughing way more than the kids, because there's a lot of complex issues and ideas that are brought up in this movie that to me, I don't think all the kids can get all of what they're talking about. But apparently they loved it as well, because they're going to in droves as well.
But you know, that is, when you really sit back and think about it, that is the hallmark of the very best Pixar films. Because I've always said this, Pixar does not make kid films. What they do is they make great films that just happen to be kid friendly. When you look at films like, and we've talked about this before, you and I, when you look at films like The Incredibles, or you look at films like Up, and you look at those types of movies, when you really sit back and look at the structure of the film and the story points and the characters, these are very adult themed, not as an R-rated, but these are very heavily leaned towards issues that adults face, especially The Incredibles. I mean, The Incredibles is about a middle-aged man, yearning for the glory of his youth and now the realities of having young families and all that. These are not kid issues. These are adult issues. And when you watch a film like Inside Out, it may not be adult issues per se, but they're dealing with themes and ideas that are complex and like higher level thinking aimed at adults, yet very kid friendly at the same time. And that is something that even the best like DreamWorks animated films or other animated studios have yet to be able to nail on a consistent basis. There's an argument for How to Train Your Dragon. but have failed to hit on that consistent basis. And maybe it's just that faith and belief that the average filmgoer has in that brand name of Pixar, that even though we didn't think the trailers were all that big, I pegged it 60 to 65. You got closer than I did, 65 to 70. It still overperforms, even though there's another $100 million film in the box office that weekend. Absolutely incredible. Also, as a side note, very happy that Dope did as well as it did. I didn't know that Dope would crack 5 because it's a very small market type of film, but it did better than I thought it would. It's 6 point something.
Yeah,
so very, very happy.
I saw
for
it
that.
this weekend. I loved it.
Very good.
I was actually surprised that it made it to so many screens. It's over 2,000 screens. I was like, oh, I thought they were going to start off at under 1,000,
like 500 screens or something like that.
Exactly, but I'm glad it's success.